Oh, good evening, everyone. My name's Janice, and I'm the owner and creator of the Glamour Club. And we were created to eradicate loneliness and loneliness caused by social isolation. And we are pioneers and we're activists for change. And we do this by holding events. So you come at noon, you leave at 3, you get served a high tea by table hosts, and 3 times 30 minutes, all your favourite numbers from the flying 40s to the swinging 70s. You're also greeted on arrival by a stilt walking butler, and you're ushered to your tables. So at the moment, we can't have our event. So what we're doing is we're going virtual. We're absolutely delighted to have been chosen as the grand finale for the afternoon tea at 3 for Worthing Mental Health Awareness Week. So that's enough about me. I just want to hand you over to my lovely guest, Mark Cropley, who is the Chief Executive Officer, the CEO of Dadler Soul. Hello, Mark. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, please?
Yeah, so I have been chosen to lead the good ship Dadler Soul. So we've had a couple of the rest of the team on here telling us about the good work that we do. We're kind of like the other end of the scale to you guys. So we're tackling social isolation and loneliness among dads. And we do that by putting on events. And again, like you know, we've had to change over COVID. We've had to do digital events, but we've just managed to start our physical events again, which has been really good because, do you know what? There's nothing like getting people into a room together. You know, trying to do it safely is really difficult. We've had to, you know, jump through a hell of a lot of hoops and buy a lot of equipment. But we're doing it again, and we're having good results from it. But yeah, so we were talking just before this. It's been really difficult through COVID. We're having to do online stuff. It's great. We got plenty of funding to do that, but it's not the same. You know, the kids staring back at someone at a screen rather than playing. And I think even with social distancing in place, just to be near other people, experiencing the same things together, is such a powerful thing. And I know, you know, you've spoken with Matt and Dan already. You heard the story of Dadler Soul and how Dan started it. And, you know, I've come along for that journey. I really bought into what it did or what it does. And as a team, you know, I'm lucky enough to have been chosen to lead that team. But without all of us working together, Dadler Soul can't happen. And, you know, we've got to try and make it sustainable for the future. You know, get funding in place, which I know are all the kind of things that you're going through as well.
Yeah, the thing is, Dan, like all of that aside, you know, to get down to sort of the serious business of how you actually turn around this loneliness. I know it's difficult, like, you know, and we're pushing through, aren't we? We're pushing through. We're being really inventive and everything. For those who have missed the other 2 interviews, can you tell me a little bit about Dadler Soul, connected to loneliness, and what a Dadler Soul event looks like? Can you sort of describe a couple of them?
Yeah, so we're looking at other events. We've piloted a few for early years, for Send Autism friendly sessions, but the main Dadler Soul group, we rock up a venue. So we've got a venue in Chichester we use. We've got one in Hurstfield Point and one in Worthing. And we'll have teas, coffees, biscuits set up. We'll have places for drawing and for crafting where people that are feeling, you know, not quite... maybe a bit shy, they can come in, the kids can come in with the dads and just sort of grow into the room a bit. And then we'll have a main event. So we've just had 3 sessions of Cy Cannon from Get Together DJs doing DJ workshops. We've got Lee Sutton doing his zombie makeup workshops. We've just had him do Hurstfield Point. He's going to be doing Chichester on the 17th and Worthing on the 31st. So there's always a main facilitator that comes in, the draw, the attraction. But if you just want to come in, sit down with your kids, play some Lego, do some drawing, you know, and just hang out and have a chat, there's areas for people to do that. If you want to get in and make a fool of yourself in front of everyone, you can do that as well. And I've certainly done that myself a few times. And we try and run these clubs once a month in different locations. Our focus now over the next 12 months is to build up multiple clubs within Worthing. We want to dominate Worthing. One of the big drivers for us is 74% of dads say that they feel lonely. And that's a massive amount, 6 million dads in the UK. We've kind of done basic calculations based on national statistics, and there's about 5,000 dads in Worthing and Ada. So you can imagine 74% of those, if they're feeling lonely, they kind of really need us. They need to hear about us. So we want to put on multiple clubs, because our main club at the moment, or our main sessions, are really aimed at kind of like 6 to 10-year-olds. So we want to do some more early year stuff and some more stuff for teens. Our focus is obviously on the dads, but of course you want to get the kids involved too. And it really does help dads open out and feel less lonely, because if you tell a bunch of dads and lads to get into a room and talk about how lonely they are, it ain't going to happen. But the amount of people that will come along with their kids and say, I'm really struggling at the moment, and I've never had so many people open up to me as we do at our events. And from there, we can signpost them, we can help them if we can, or we can signpost them to the services that they need.
I mean, I think I've been a great big fan of yours since, if I could just explain, read it back a bit, Mark, how we met.
Yes.
So that was at the Better Business Show, where I was invited to share a stand with you.
Yes,
and you were slightly later, and you came along with Dan, but there was such an energy when you came in the room. It was like you bounced into the room. And Dan said to me, "Oh, I'm Dan Flanagan." And he said, "Oh, and this is Mark Cropley. He's the handsome one of us all."
Yeah.
So I don't know if you would agree with that, Mark, but we'll move swiftly on.
we're all handsome lads. Well, yeah, most of us.
So how do you do these icebreakers then? Because I know that people tell us with the Glamour Club, we're dementia friends, we're especially created for people, the UN says when you hit 50, that's an older person.
Yeah.
The United Nations say that. So we cater for that age group, but everybody is welcome. Now, with the icebreakers and stuff like that, how do you do that? Because I know that when we have the Matt from Amarat UK, he's the still walking butler, so he ushers people in. We have balloons outside, people to greet you on arrival, and there's gentle music playing, and already the volunteers are so excited about what's going to happen, because we know what our events are like. There's a real buzz around the place. So how do you create that? And for that nervous dad who's thinking, do you know what, I'm not going to go, because it'll just be like all the other clubs. Why are you different, and why are you tackling loneliness? Is it because of all the stats and everything, or have you personally experienced that, Mark?
So, I mean, the stats is one of our biggest drivers. 96 men a week now are taking their own life. All the stats for suicide and loneliness are going up, despite us being, more connected than ever. There's a kind of emptiness to social media, this connection. And this is why I said about physical groups is so important. We need to get people back in a room together. Dadler Soul has a flavour and a vibe. It's a flavour and a vibe that Dan created. It's kind of around this hip hop music type of thing. People can come in, there's always a bit of music playing. There's always, the person that's hosting the event, whether it be me, Dan or Matt, will be there at the door to greet people, and you kind of bring them in and make them feel comfortable. When we did our launch at Storrington, which was a pilot, which we were going to run a full group there, but unfortunately Impulse Leisure has now turned turtle during this crisis. So hopefully, whoever takes it over, we can maybe go back in there again. But I had a dad locally that I was chatting to. I actually had a meeting with him because he said he'd love to go, but his son and even himself were so shy. So we actually created, with his help, a way of engaging particularly his children. So we made sure we had a quiet area in the cafe to begin with, where they could just sit down. There wasn't a lot of people there. Had some sort of light music on. You could get some drinks, play a bit of Lego and drawing. And in the main hall, we had all the noisy stuff going on. And his kids, I was kind of there watching, making sure he was okay along with everyone else. And his kids were in the quiet area for a good half an hour or so. and then they kind of eventually made it into the hall where they started playing with stuff. By the end of it, they were running around like lunatics making bottle rockets at the other end of the hall. So it's really important there's those kind of different areas for people to come and warm up. There's nothing worse, is there, than walking into the middle of the room and feeling like you're on show. You know, you need to get
I don't know.
Well, for me, I'm there. Here I am. But, you know, for a lot of people, it's a very uncomfortable feeling to come along to that.
So you make everyone feel really welcome. And I just, because we haven't got long, I'm sorry, Mark, you know, so it's meant to only be 10 minutes, you know, so it is really, like you were saying, a flavour of who you are. I mean, I absolutely love your radio show. It gets fed into Facebook, and as I'm scrolling down, I just was mesmerised. But you know, I thought to myself, why is it that it's for dads? You know what? Yeah. Why is it that I'm so interested? It's because I really miss hanging around with a group of lads and girls. You know, before I went off travelling and had my child, and you know, you sort of like you stay in a lot more. Yeah. So when I was listening to your radio show, it just cheered me up no end. I'd be absolutely crying, you know, but some of the subjects that you're tackling, you know, it's what you call a deep dive, isn't it? Can you tell me a little bit about some of the guests that you've had and the topics that they've spoken about, please, Mark?
So the radio show started off as just that. It was a podcast radio show, a year and a half ago, and me, Dan and Matt would get in a studio. Sometimes it would just be us. Sometimes we'd have guests, and there was a format to it. And then that would go out as a podcast. But then COVID happened, and of course we couldn't get into a studio anymore. So we changed it we tried the radio show online with all of us, and it just didn't work. There was just, you know, all of our faces there. And so we switched to just one of us, which ended up being me doing the deep dive and getting guests on that we thought we needed to tackle certain areas. So we had, we tackled addiction, we tackled homeschooling, parenting, first aid, and then we finaled with the comedian Ian Lee, who used to be on the 11 o'clock show, and he's got his own radio show. And our producer Chris managed to get him to agree to come on the show. In fact, he was very forthcoming in doing it, and he was so open about his experiences as a man, as a dad. We thought actually that's a flavour of things to come. You know, we want to get more people on that to talk about their lives. I do like doing the deep dives with a specific guest with, knowledge in a certain area, but to actually get somebody on that's a minor celebrity that people know to actually suddenly open their heart out, I think was really powerful.
It was. I mean, I watched that, and the thing I really liked about it was interactive, Mark. I asked so many questions, and then I tried not to get, you know, I didn't think that I was nervous around sort of people who have been on telly, until I was on that show, and I thought, oh, he's answered my question. I was so chuffed. Yeah. But I tell you, we've got to go because I'm sure it's more than 10 minutes. But can you tell us a little bit quickly about what you're doing for? Dadler Soul is doing for Worthy Mental Health Awareness Week, please.
So at 10 o'clock on the 10th, which is this Saturday, there'll be a few of us socially distanced and in groups smaller than 6 doing a 10K run in Worthing, which I think we're kicking off with Bob Smitherman, and I think someone else is kicking it off. We're doing a Zoom call. And then we're also doing that virtually. So for some of the dads that can't make it, they can go and record a 10K time, a bit like what's just happened with the London Marathon. It's all to raise awareness for Mental Health Awareness Week. So really looking forward to being part of that. Mark, who's got the blog The Ordinary Runner, who's part of our Dadler Soul group, he's created this, and so it's his baby. I shall be turning up and running my best 10K. Really looking forward to it. So we'll be there on Worthing Seafront, setting off from the pier at 10 o'clock.
Oh, brilliant. And I was just going to ask you, Mark, do you think that you may be out at some of your Dadler Soul crew might come on to our afternoon tea at 3 with your dicky bow ties and your bowler hats and, you know?
Sounds amazing. Yeah, I'd love to. We'll be available. Yeah. I'm sure. Have you asked Matt? I'm sure he'd love to too.
I'm going to be inviting people personally. I've done quite a lot of social media But I will be inviting people individually. So you're going to come, are you?
Yeah, you'll have to send it to me because I've taken myself off Facebook and stuff like that. I was fed up
Oh,
with
okay,
all the
I will
yeah.
do, Mark. All
So
right then. So for those who aren't on Facebook, this is going to go up to YouTube, and this is via Zoom. So I will, if you want to come, please get in touch with us somehow. There's plenty of, you know, you can go on to Worthing Mental Health Awareness at their website and have a look at the full program. Okay, Mark.
wonderful.
So I think that's a wrap from us, and
Great.
I thoroughly enjoyed speaking to you.
And to you, Janice. Thank you.
Thanks a